Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of The Vet Scoop. I'm Emma Cassidy, and with me, of course, is my co-host and podcaster extraordinaire, Mike Messina. How are you, Mike?
Emma, I'm great. How are you?
I'm just
Here right now.
living the dream. We're supposed to get more snow, I think, coming this week, so that's
It's
great.
gonna be 50 degrees in about 2 hours though.
That's true. I was walking outside and I was like, so they have my boiler on at like full temperature today, which is wild because it's like the warmest we've had in a while, like weather-wise. And of course, now is the time they choose to like pump up the heat in my apartment. So
You can't turn it down?
I have no control over it whatsoever. I mean, I can like turn my boiler, my radiator off.
Yeah, that's all I could do as well.
That's all I have. So yeah, I have no control whatsoever. And usually they swap it between both sides of the building, so like one side gets heated, the other is off. But it seems to have been on for the past like 24 hours. And it's a sweatshop in this apartment.
What
So
floor are you on?
I'm on the second floor.
Oh, it's not too bad.
So it could be worse. But
I was on the fourth. It was brutal.
yeah, that's so funny that I guess, heat travels upward. So I suppose that makes sense. Yeah, second floor, not too bad. I also have like some windows open. But yeah, I just think it's funny that like all the nights I needed the boiler, it was unavailable. And here we are.
I don't understand how yesterday was legitimately 20 degrees. I fell. Listen to this. So I was leaving the house and my mom made a joke the other day saying like if I was driving with somebody and they were to get in a car accident, she would sue, right? So then I made a joke saying, "Hey, Ma, if I walk out of the house right now and fall down the stairs, I'm
Mhm.
suing." And I'm not even kidding. The second I stepped 1 foot out of the door, I fell directly onto my back. I had a glass Tupperware shattered everywhere. I was like, "That's just karma, right for me."
Wah, wah. That
Yeah.
sucks. I've not fallen yet. There's been some close calls because my dogs are terrible on the leash and they just
Mhm.
take off. And there's all this like hidden ice on the sidewalk. So
The black ice was bad last night.
yeah.
Driveway, the roads, it was terrible. My back still hurt. I fell and my back just hit the corner of the stairs. It wasn't fun.
Do you feel okay? Like
Yeah,
physically?
I feel fine. Except the only thing is I had food in the glass Tupperware, so all the food was now gone.
That's
So
the worst when you like spend time cooking and then something happens and it's just ruined. You're like, I spent an hour for what? So,
well, I didn't cook it, so
oh, okay, cheater. Then you don't get to be mad at your
like
mom.
that part I didn't really care about, but I was starving and I wanted to eat it, so I got Chipotle instead.
I mean, I love Chipotle, honestly. Like, you can't be mad about that. But
I could eat Chipotle 5 times a week if I wanted to.
I've been on a sushi kick recently. So,
Love raw sushi or cooked sushi.
okay, I am a cheater and I'm a
Oh,
tempura girl. I know it's like, I love tempura. I love shellfish. Like, so I can eat raw shellfish, but in general, I hate raw fish.
really?
Yeah, so sashimi is like my worst nightmare. I think that y'all are freaking insane.
Delicious. See, like I used to get spicy crab meat and chicken tempura like all throughout high school, and then I was just like, I have to try it, and I have not went back since.
The rawest I'll go is like a California roll, and that's like
But
a hard stop.
spicy yellowtail, spicy salmon,
No,
so good. Which you gotta get
my least favorite fish. So
salmon.
yeah, it's the fishiest of them all. So
Yeah, definitely the fishiest. That's for sure. But it's good though.
I
Have you
disagree.
tried it?
Yes, I've had it. Yes, I don't just dislike things for the sake of it.
Well, I meant like, have you had it raw?
Yes.
Okay. What is it? Is it a texture thing?
It's just I don't like fish. I don't like the taste of it.
Okay, that's not weird though. Like I feel like a lot of people just don't like fish.
I mean, I used to have to eat it raw, not raw, just unseasoned for bodybuilding. And once you do that for like weeks on end, and you're not allowed to use anything on it because like my sodium levels were low, I just ever since I can't even smell it without being like, huh. So no, I can't do it. So anyway, my cooked sushi kick. I'm a cheater. What can I say? But shrimp tempura is where it's at. So
Never had shrimp, but I love the chicken.
that's cheating even more than I cheat. At least mine has fish in it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not even sushi, but I don't get that on a daily basis. I get that as like a let me eat my sushi and then have a little snack afterwards, and that's the little snack afterwards.
I'm honestly like, I get it mostly because it gives me an excuse to get a salad with ginger dressing, and I could seriously eat that every day for my life.
So good.
It's so good.
Not a fan of miso soup though. It just like
Oh, really?
tastes like cardboard. To be honest.
I I like miso, but I don't like tofu.
I don't really know if I know what the difference is.
The food chunks in it. I just ignore
Oh,
those.
the little squares.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that.
It's just tasty. Ugh, whatever. I mean, this is not a food podcast, but I want you guys to know how I feel about things. So
Well, I wanna go eat now, so I'm probably gonna get sushi when this is
all
done.
right, all right. We'll move on from food then, because I also have a hankering for sushi now, and it's only 11, and they don't open until 12. So now I have to
Same
suffer.
here.
Very sad. Okay, there's just a couple of things I did want to kind of discuss before we, talk about our fun, very interesting recordable lives, which is that NatCon is coming up. And for those that don't know, NatCon is National Conference for the Student Veterans of America. They do it every year. Typically, it's in Florida, but because of COVID, we're virtual this year, which is, I did the SBA Leadership Institute last year virtually, and it was weird. Like, we all had breakout sessions and got to like Zoom with each other, but honestly, it's just not the same. But I imagine they're going to do their best. So
I'm sure it's much different without the face-to-face interaction because you just like can't. I mean, you can build that network, but it's much harder to really get to know somebody over Zoom.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel that I'm way more charming in person than I am over a screen, but I have to do my best. So we all have to adapt. But I really wanted to point out, because this is specific to Fordham, that we have a representative of Fordham speaking actually at NatCon, and his name is Rafael Zapata. And let me just hop into, so in the chat, we had Stephen Hellman, who works for OMVS. He mentioned Rafael Zapata, who's the Chief Diversity Officer, Special Assistant to the President for Diversity. I mean, he's got a long list. Vice President for Academic Affairs. He's speaking on the Diversity and Inclusion panel at NatCon this year, which is cool because that's like, a direct person from Fordham. And Fordham's already got a pretty good rap sheet with the SVA. Like, we're a pretty popular chapter with them. And so it's really cool that we have, staff of Fordham speaking. It's a little more personal to us this year.
Emma, let me ask you. So for people who don't really know what it is this open to every student veteran? Is like what kind of event is it? Is it a networking event or really what is it?
It's sort of networking as well as socializing and information. It's like sort of a 3-in-1 thing. And as far as I know, anyone can sign up to attend NatCon. You don't have to be actively staffed or in like the chapter. Obviously, we suggest that you be involved with SVAF if you're deciding to go, because that's the whole reason it's being held, right? Is to be involved with your SVA chapter. But for a while it was free. I'm not sure if it still is. So there was a few sponsors that paid for X amount of students registration, which was really cool. So a lot of us ended up being able to go for free. But if you are a student veteran or military affiliated student at Fordham, I really suggest you try to sign up. I'm sure it's closing soon. And like we were saying, it is a huge networking event. So many people are there. Usually it's like 2,000 plus people in a room, so it's like infectious when you're there. It's just like, it's all this energy. It's going to be a little different this year, but at the same time, the information is the same. So.
Well, that's good. So if you're listening to this, everyone do whatever you can to try and attend, because I'm sure only good things can come out of that. And we want you to be involved with the SVAF. We need as many participants as possible.
Right. Yeah, and actually, speaking of that, we had a few people email us this week about volunteering with SVAF, which is great because I'm all for involvement, especially within our community. And so the most upcoming one would be the 27th of February. I'm working on getting us with the Dream Center, which is a nonprofit organization that collaborates with Metro World Child, another nonprofit organization. And so every Saturday at 11, and I believe at 1 or 1:30, there's 2 shifts, they pack food boxes at the food warehouse in Bushwick that they distribute their food pantry throughout the week. So, and that's something you can do, not just part of this specific volunteer event, that's every week that you could do that. But we're working with them to establish an actual opportunity for people to go at a specific time and commit their time. So I'm speaking with them this afternoon. So by the time this episode gets released, we should have a link for registration.
Yeah, and we will have that registration link within the description of this episode, so it's easy to access. And is there a limited number of people who will be able to register, or what's the deal with that?
I'll probably cap it at about 15. I personally don't expect more than that in one go. And you have to understand, like, everyone's welcome. They're not going to say like, oh, we have too many people, you need to leave. We'll never do that. But at the same time, there's only so much they can do in one room, so they always divvy up. You'll have people packing rice, and it's sort of an assembly line sort of thing. So you've got like rice here, beans there, et cetera, et cetera. So if you don't make the registration, I would say still feel free to come. You know, the information is going to be there. I'll provide the address and the times, you know, so.
Yeah, they are not going to be turning people away from the help. I remember I did that while I was still active duty in Camp Lejeune. I went to it was like just a huge warehouse, and it was just assembly line after assembly line after assembly line, just packing stuff up and delivering it. So, but it was a really fun time. That was actually the first time I did something like that, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I ended up doing that when I first got here because I was like, I need to make friends.
Yeah.
So I went, and I feel like that's one of the best ways to meet people is doing something you all have in common off the bat, which for me is like giving back.
Yeah.
So pat myself on the shoulder for that. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. But I've made some really good friends that I still hang out with as much as I can. And so you get a really diverse group who shows up there. So I'm really excited. It's been a while since I've been able to do it just because of school starting back up again. So it'll be really nice to get back into it.
I know. Well, you said it's in Bushwick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The location for me is really what gets me because I'm like an hour and a half away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for those that don't live in the city, I will say it's a little harder, but at the same time, I think it's only logical that we cater to the city
Of course.
because that's where Fordham is, you
Yeah.
know?
No. Makes perfect sense to do everything in the city. It just so much more convenient for the SVA as a whole because I'm pretty sure most of the people who we work with live, if not in the city, close to the city.
Yeah. I mean, Matthias is out in the Bronx, and that may as well be upstate. So
Yeah.
Matthias, when you're hearing this, I know you're going to cringe when I say that. So I'm sorry. But
See, I get in arguments when people say I'm upstate.
kind of upstate.
See, you can still take Metro North to where I am, though. We say once you can't take Metro North is the cutoff for upstate. That makes perfect sense.
Fine, then you're not upstate.
Okay, I'll take that.
You're mid-state.
Mid-state is I like that.
You're mid-state.
I like that.
You're still not very close. So sad for you.
Oh, the drive is miserable.
Yeah. I mean, I personally can't imagine not living in the city while going to Fordham, mostly because I have in-person classes, so that'd be impossible. But
Yeah.
I also have to be able to pay rent. My parents live in Ohio, so I don't really have the option of just like staying in the state a little further away and doing online, you know. So
Yeah. I'll be moving back for the semester. I'm trying to find an apartment and a roommate because I'm subletting my apartment and I don't think I'll be able to get that back. So
where's your girlfriend live?
here where I live.
Okay. But you guys don't want to just come together and work that out?
In the city?
Yeah.
No, she works even further up.
Oh gosh, so it wouldn't even be possible. That's unfortunate.
She works like 40 minutes north. So
There are actually some Facebook pages that I believe that we're posting at least to social media that are great resources for veterans looking for roommates. So
I'm in a couple that are like just regular, like non-specific veteran pages, but I didn't know there was veteran pages.
yeah, Emma Higgins is one of our SVAF and OBS employees. And she was talking about there being pages specific for veterans looking for roommates and things like that, which I think is great because you automatically have something in common with someone, you know. And it's weird living with a stranger, so it helps if you have something in common.
And like when I lived alone, I was like, I can't do this any longer. I need someone to talk to. I have to talk to somebody, and especially it was like during COVID, so I was like, this sucks. So
that's it. I love living alone.
yeah, no, I get real. I'm not gonna say depressed, but I get real bored very quickly if I'm sitting there alone. I can only scroll Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and YouTube so many hours a day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess having two dogs helps me a little bit because they keep me preoccupied. But I will say having a roommate is nice because you have a built-in friend, unless you hate each other, in which case it's awkward. But
yeah, which I don't want to have a roommate that I hate.
Don't live with your friends because it turns into not being friends very quickly. I can speak from experience. So.
And I could see it.
What else do we have going on? I would say an important one that we were before we started recording, we were talking about was the disability claims info session that they're doing on February 25th. OMVS is hosting it. And I personally had a lot of trouble submitting my claim for disability. It's still an ongoing struggle, partially because I had to submit it in the COVID era, which just made it harder. But basically this is going to be, is it a one-on-one? I know there's a registration. Is it just pop in and first come, first serve sort of thing?
No, they have one-on-one sessions as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So I believe there's two I believe there's two like separate events. I could be wrong. I'm gonna double check this, and if so, I'll edit this out.
Okay.
Um, I think there's two. I think there's a one-on-one session, then I think there's an all-day session, like a group session.
Right. I mean, I know the all day one that they're giving us their entire calendar
Mhm.
basically.
So
But
they actually might they actually might be the same thing. So I think the all-day session, and then it's broken into like hour sessions per
right.
like first come first serve, I believe it is, or if you have to reserve a time slot.
Yeah. I believe from what I understand, it's you register with a time slot, but they're giving us their whole calendar day. So there's many opportunities to meet with these guys. And I just can't stress the importance of this enough that if you're having any sort of trouble with your claim, or you don't know what to claim, or you don't know if you can or can't claim something, any question you have, you need to hop in and talk to these guys because obviously they're the experts and they're who I wish I had when I was starting my claim process.
Yeah, no, I'm thankful I didn't have to go through this process within the COVID timeframe because that would have been so miserable and so just disheartening because it's hard enough to hear back from the VA as it is. And
Right.
especially when you need something in crunch time, it just never works out. But I got lucky. I got all my paperwork and everything, physicals, everything I needed to do while I was still active duty. And I had a pretty smooth process. So I like everyone complains about it. And I'm like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but it never happened to me. So I'm thankful. But I couldn't stress enough how important it is to attend this if you're having trouble, if you don't know what to do, or if you don't know if you should do it, because the answer is yes, you should do it. You should
Guys, come on.
it's money. Like you should absolutely put in a disability claim, and it could only help you in the long run.
Hmm. And from what I understand, they don't really turn down most things, like,
Not that I am aware of.
so, I mean, granted, in some situations, like, so for mine is typically mental health related. So I had to provide a lot of records of my seeing specialist for that because pretty much anyone can claim, like, oh, I have an anxiety disorder and things like that. But it's some of the things are a little more complicated and you have to sort of jump through hoops for that, which is maybe just adding to the difficulties that I faced with it. But um, I'm going to sign up with these guys just to get some information that maybe like there's just some things that like pop up that I'm still a little confused on. So I'm excited to talk to them and just cannot stress enough how useful this will be. So, and this is not something that they just can do anytime. Like them providing their whole day to us is a big deal. So,
Yeah, that takes a lot of probably canceling other things in order to do this for us. So I highly suggest everyone attend if you're in the works of um, filing or thinking about it. But I definitely think it's important to go to.
yeah. What else? We had Navy Mutual come meet us last week.
Oh,
It was really good. It was really good information. They've done it for sure these last 2 semesters, maybe before that, but I wasn't here, so I'm not really sure. And they have provided just great information on life insurance, TSB. They also dive into like 401ks and sort of, you know, savings plans outside of the military sphere because most of us were separated and or retired at that point. So like telling us how TSP works isn't necessarily helping us now. You
yeah.
know, they went through it, but at the same time, it was really cool that they discussed things that were sort of outside of that and, like how to translate your TSP into a different sort of account and things like that. So,
Which is what I need to do.
yeah. I personally took out my TSP when I was still in for a specific like loan reason. I would suggest you don't do that, but at the same time, the tax was only 10%, so I still got most of it. And they talked about that a little bit too. So I have the recording just because I know that there were some conflicts with class times and things like that. So I do plan on releasing that to the military affiliate students at large via an email, just so that they can have access to it. So really good information. I suggest that you take a listen to it. Feel free to jump around the recording, whatever. It was about an hour-ish. So lots of information. He was really good about it.
See, my issue is I don't know how much money I have in my TSP.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I don't have a job, so I don't have anywhere to put that money. So I guess I just have to keep it in there or take it out and lose a
Mm-hmm.
percent of it, I guess.
As
So
far as I know, yeah, but you're not touching it. You're not losing any of
yeah,
it.
so I'm just gonna leave it in there until I have to, I guess.
Once you take it out, I'm not sure how it works transferring from it to a different account. They might take a percentage still. But mine was, they sent it directly to me, which is why it was
Yeah,
taxed. So
that makes
to be a little different. But I'm going to also provide the speaker's information. just because he obviously can answer these questions better than I ever could. So, he encouraged us to reach out to him directly. So I would suggest you do that if you have any questions.
Something else I was actually just thinking about the other day is I originally had the Montgomery GI Bill. So I
Okay.
paid in that like 12, 1300 or it might have been $1,400 in like in the beginning, I think while I was still in boot camp. So I guess I get that money back after I graduate college, I just learned. So I have to graduate and then that money comes back to me. So if anyone else also transfer GI Bills, that's your answer. You will get the money back once you graduate.
Interesting. I only signed up with the post 9/11 because my recruiters were like, don't use the Montgomery, so
I don't know how it was for you, but during boot camp, like we had to all sit in a big room, like a big auditorium, and we got like info sessions on it. And then we had to make our decision that day, but everyone's just falling asleep just because like a long day. So like I didn't really listen, so I kind of just picked one.
yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate, and that obviously we can't do anything about that, but it is unfortunate that the information kind of comes to all at once. And I don't know about you, but I've blocked out most of boot camp. Like, even as I was going through it, I could not remember the day before. It was just autopilot. So
I just remember stuff like that because like it's still affecting me today. Like the bank you choose, like the GI Bill, that stuff still pertains to my everyday life. So that's why I remember stuff like that. But like everything else, oh no, I don't remember.
I have no idea what happened at boot camp. I made it though. That's all I remember. But if I guess at this point everyone's probably chosen by now, but if you know anyone who's debating between the two, I always suggest post 9/11. Like, always.
Unequivocally post 9/11. It's much better.
It's so much better. At Montgomery, it struck me as complicated and convoluted. So I was lucky. I had great recruiters who were like, this is why you should choose the post 9/11 over the Montgomery. But not everyone's recruiters are like that. Most of them probably don't care. So like yours. That's sad. I'm sorry. My recruiters were great. Shout out to Wilkins and Delaney. You guys were great. Or DeLong. See, he's so great. I forgot his name. He's not going to hear this. It doesn't matter. The last thing I want to mention is Vets in Tech. We were supposed to have an info session with them this week, but their speaker has a complicated schedule, so we decided to postpone. It will probably be the week after NatCon, which will be the week after this coming week. So 2 weeks from now.
What month? February. Got it.
NatCon starts the 19th, and when that's over, so the last week of February is when we'll hold the Vets in Tech, probably on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something like that. So just keep an eye out. Obviously, there'll be a registration link for that. Great information. One of our own is actually the rep, Matthias. So
shout out Matthias.
He's great because obviously he's got SBA knowledge as well as the Vets in Tech knowledge. So he's sort of twofold for us, which is great. So that's all the actual pertinent information. How are classes going for you? Like, I know I've been drowning personally.
Yeah, they're going okay. They're going as best as they can.
Yeah.
No, I mean a lot of reading, like textbooks and stuff. But
yeah. I mean, I had a lot of reading and I haven't done most of it.
So. Yeah, see, what I was about to say is I don't really do the reading, but the reading is assigned to me.
Yeah, I mean, as you get like further on in school, you sort of figure out how to read intelligently. And most of the time you don't need to read that much.
No.
As far as like I'll skim, and it's easier when you do that as you like get used to it to pick out the important facts that you need, especially when you're writing a paper. But no, when I first started, I definitely tried to read every single page and whatever, but I couldn't keep up with it. So
yeah. See, the good thing about one of my classes, like there's like discussion starters at the end of each chapter, and we have to do like 5 to 6 questions usually, but the answers are legitimately just like right in the big blue bold headlines. So it's just like you just go to the paragraph and it's right there. It's so easy.
I do ebooks as often as possible so that I can control F and just find what I need.
Yeah, see, I always mean to do that, and then I don't, and I'm like, well, this sucks.
During the last class I had, actually, she was like, oh, so when you guys have your books in front of you, and I was like, shoot, like I don't have that book. So I just like bought it on the Kindle version really quick, and I found exactly what she was asking for. So
yeah, I usually wait until like 3 weeks in to the class. So like I missed the first couple chapters and then I bought my books.
Yeah, I was really on top of it last semester, and then we didn't need half of them. So I was
exactly. I'm like, I had to one. So I was in a text and context class last semester, and we had to buy not textbooks, but like regular reading books, 7 of them. I was like, that is crazy. That is crazy.
And we're not graduate students, so the workload seems just odd, like
we were supposed to read a full book every week. I was like,
No
Sure.
way.
I have other classes in like work and like just other things that need to get done as well. Like I'm not like the best reader, so it's kind of tough for me to read a book in a week. But because like once I'm sitting down for like 30 minutes, I'm like, oh, I gotta start moving, gotta do something.
I love to read things I like, you know.
Yeah, like I'll read my favorite books are like sports documentaries and like just sports book and like war books, like the Chris Kyle book. I love like books like that. But like if you give me a book on like 1965 something like stuff back then, I have no interest in it.
Yeah, history is not. I like history. I don't like to read about it. It's so I don't know. There's just a dullness to it. Like I think it's just like the monotonous tone that is carried throughout books like that. And it's I don't know if you guys are Harry Potter people, but it makes me think of Professor Binns which you might not know who that is. But if you're listening to Harry Potter, he's like the history professor. He's so boring. He drones, and I'm not gonna lie, I have a professor just like that. I have lectures twice a week. It's literally just a lecture. So I just leave it on and I'm like, oh my God.
That's funny.
And he's knowledgeable. It's amazing. But at the same time, it's like, oh my God.
My girlfriend in the corner of her room has probably like a 10-foot table and it has two platforms to it. It's all filled with Harry Potter Legos. I'm like,
Yeah. I like her girlfriend. I want to hang out with her.
well, crazy.
What house is she? Do you know?
What?
What house is she? Do you know?
I mean, what house?
So there's Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, and Ravenclaw.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
On her table.
What'd you say?
What colors are there? Are they like gold and red? Huh?
I'm colorblind. You can't ask me about colors.
Tell her to come on the podcast so we can talk about it.
You can't ask me about colors. I'm not good with that.
Well, I'm Gryffindor. Let her know.
Okay, we'll let her know, and I'll find out for next week. I'll have an answer for you.
I'm excited. That's so great. Okay. Well, I guess that's pretty much it. I hope that everyone else is surviving their classes. I know that when they start up, it can be overwhelming, especially after winter break, especially. Like that was such a long break. So I'm still getting used to the flow.
Yeah, I would like winter break to come back, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Spring break's coming up, so
We don't have a spring break.
I know, but in theory, spring break is coming up.
Sure. Okay, but so I guess in theory, so is the end of the semester.
I don't, even if I had a spring break, I wouldn't take it. So
Oh, I would take it.
I just want to get done. I have a year left until my BA is finished. And I'm like, hustle, hustle, hustle. So
Yeah, I have to take 16 credits this spring, 8 in the summer, 16 in the fall, and 16 in the spring in order to graduate next spring. So
I'm in the same boat. I'm like, oh my God.
and this is the first semester I've ever taken 16 credits. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it 3 more times.
It's tough. I did 14 last semester and I'm at 16 this semester. So it's just
as well
a lot, but we can do it and you all can do it too. So we believe in you.
We hope. We hope.
Fingers crossed. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us this week, guys. We'll hopefully next week have some people on to talk to us, some people that are also in the SBAF. So it'll be great to get some more perspectives and a little bit of chatter with them. So
Yep. Thanks for listening, guys.
thanks. Bye.
Wow.